Welcome to this edition of the Huntsville Insider. I'm Keith Ward. We're here in the Twickenham Historic District. It's one of the largest collections of antebellum homes in the South, with well over 60 buildings dating back to as early as 1814. This area is home to some of the most expensive real estate in Huntsville. In the 1920s, Huntsville City Schools built a high school here, and by the late 1980s, the building was converted to the school system's administration building. The story in this episode is how the school district sold its property here in Twickenham for what many consider to be an incredible bargain, and how the purchaser was not only able to later negotiate a discount of $500,000, but more than double his money in a year. In part one of our segment, Deal or No Deal. January 19th, 2021. The Huntsville Board of Education's regular meeting has a vague item on its agenda, land purchase agreement. The board goes into executive session for approximately 30 minutes to discuss what was explained as the purchase or sale of real property. By the end of the meeting, in less than a minute, the board votes to approve the superintendent's recommendation for the purchase of real property.
The superintendent recommends approval of the agreement for the sale and purchase of real property as presented to the board January 19, 2021. Do I have a motion to accept?
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion from Mr. Matthews and a second from Ms. Wilder. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed? The chair votes aye. The motion passes.
Documents show that the board put down $25,000 on an agreement to purchase the old Clements Baptist Church located on McClung Avenue near Maple Hill Cemetery. The price for that deal? $2,750,000. When questioned by the media about what the purchase was for, the school district stated they were unable to provide any updates and hope to share more information in the coming weeks.
Controversy tonight between Huntsville City Schools and residents of the Blossomwood neighborhood. A lot of neighbors say they were blindsided by this decision.
One by one, parents followed by neighbors of the former Old Clements Church on McClung Avenue voicing their frustration over the Huntsville City Schools' proposed plans to move district offices into the church.
But word soon leaked out that the school district would relocate the Huntsville City Schools administration office from the Annie Mertz Center in the historic district to the former church. Blossomwood residents voiced their disapproval about the idea and the lack of transparency.
It has taken years to build a trust and foster this community. It takes just a moment to lose it.
An informal poll, 224 of the 250 people who responded were against the move.
Knowing that the neighborhood was upset, Huntsville City Schools presented their reasons for the need to move out of the Annie Mertz Center and their justification for withholding information from the public.
So the things you're going to hear about are just clarifying some misconceptions and discussing the process for selecting the new property, along with next steps and a timeline.
There are several reasons why a board can convene an executive session. The board can discuss the consideration that it is willing to offer or accept when considering the purchase, sale, exchange, lease, or market value of real property. When the board is trying to obtain property, they don't want to announce to the whole community the upper limits of what the board may be willing to accept.
So it is an aging facility. The maintenance cost is very high. It's not cost effective. And at a time where we try to be good stewards of taxpayer money and also make sure that the money that we do have coming in as revenue is put back in the schools and not into central office.
We did approve to go into a purchase agreement. Again, not a closing contract, which is a purchase agreement to where we could then have the right for further due diligence.
If we get everything closed like in April or May, we can start over the summer, and it'll probably be a year and a half process to completely renovate it to our needs.
Outlined in the meeting were the next steps for the Annie Mertz Center. They included starting the process of relocating departments to other locations, finding a responsible developer for the property, and to maximize the revenue from the sale. Superintendent Christy Finley stated that the money from the sale would go to the new facility and possibly to improvements at other school buildings. But by February 25th, 2021, the contract to purchase the church went from deal to no deal. At the meeting, Superintendent Finley recommended approval of an assignment of purchase and sale agreement for the Clemens Baptist Church. A limited liability company, 15 and counting, would purchase the school district's agreement for $25,000, the same amount the district had put down on the church property.
In simple terms, what this does is upon the board's execution, approval and execution of the agreement, the company 15 and Counting LLC will basically step in the shoes of the board and take over that contract. And functionally, the board will be out of that agreement if the board wants to chooses to approve this agreement.
The superintendent recommends approval of the assignment of purchase and sale agreement with 15 and Counting LLC. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? The chair votes aye. The motion passes.
The superintendent explained that the reason for the change was due to a possible option in North Huntsville that the mayor had discussed.
Only recently have we received opportunities that would be improvements on our current plan. And one such opportunity surfaced in my regular conversations that I have with Mayor Battle, and we are currently working through opportunities on the north side of Huntsville, and I believe that these opportunities can meet the needs of our district while also be mindful of the cost for building a new location for Mertz.
Shortly after, details began to emerge on the plans to build a new Huntsville City Schools central office at the corner of Max Luther and the Parkway.
Plans are underway to move Huntsville City Schools' central office, and the city is helping with this.
Blueprints like these are still being drawn to come up with a master plan for this area, which is about 14 acres. Huntsville City Schools moving their headquarters is just one part of this plan.
By September 2021, the city had officially donated the entire 14 acres at the Max Luther site to the school district to build not only a new central office, but a career tech academy at an estimated cost of approximately $39 million. By November 29, 2021, the public learned of the fate of the Mertz Center property. The deal? $3,450,000.
We'll move to item B, Mertz update.
Okay, so this is in reference to the sale of the building that we are currently in. So we contracted with TCU Consulting to kind of lead the effort to entertain proposals from interested developers. So based on the blind offers that were presented to us, the offer from Cass Holdings LLC was selected as being the most responsive. What we were able to do is negotiate a price of $3,450,000. The larger image on the left is currently where we are, where we're sitting. This is the main property that Mertz sits on. But the offer also extends to the piece that's across White Street, to the tracks between us and California Street. Planned development is to retain the historical components, so the developer would be required to retain historical components of the building. They do want to convert the parking lot into single-family lots. That's the area between White Street and California Street. That parking lot over there would be converted to single-family homes. And the Little Red House would be converted to a single-family home, and again, retaining its historical value.
On December 7, 2021, in a vote that lasted just under 30 seconds, the Mertz property was sold.
Item B, the superintendent recommends the approval of sale of Annie Mertz Center. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Chair votes aye, motion passes.
But that's not the end of the story. By July 26, 2022, there's a revised deal on the table with almost 15% off the original sales price.
In the course of the developer seeking approval, they learned that they were not going to be able to sell as many lots as they intended to sell, and that was going to affect their financial projections. So they negotiated with the board's agent, TCU, that has been working to handle this process the entire way, and negotiated on a reduction in the proposed sale price.
What is that discount deal worth? $500,000 off the original sales price. So for the sale of the Mertz building and the surrounding land, including a small and large parking lot and a detached smaller house, that deal is now $2,916,500. So what's this deal worth for the developer, Crunkleton Commercial Real Estate? During the next 12 months, they're able to sell off all of the property and the building for deals totaling $8,245,000. The research for this Mertz deal left us with even more questions. Where did all the departments in the Mertz building end up, and how much did that cost the district? How did the school system sell this property in the most expensive part of town for less than $3 million, and yet a developer can bring in over $8 million for the same property in a matter of months? How is it that the law firm representing the school board also represents the developer that purchased the Mertz property? And how does a design and construction phase management company land a contract to market and sell the Mertz property? We'll look for answers to these questions in part 2 of Deal or No Deal. For the Huntsville Insider, I'm Keith Ward.